here. I am representing my school, Common Government High School, MNC. As we're all aware of the topic, let me begin by quoting the famous words, "A fish rots from the head." In this context, let me tell you a story. When the Prime Minister of country X visits the President of country Y, he is taken to his private residence. On gazing upon the opulence and luxury of the house, the Prime Minister says, "Your salary isn't enough for this. How do you do it?" The President takes him to a window and says, "Do you see the bridge over there?" The Prime Minister says, "Yes." The President pats his pocket and says, 10% mine. Later on, the President visits the Prime Minister in his country. The President is dumbfounded to see that the Prime Minister lives in 10 times as much luxury as him. The Prime Minister is asked by the President, "Your salary is even less than mine. How can you do it?" The Prime Minister takes him to a window and says, "Do you see the bridge over there?" The President says, "No." The Prime Minister pats his pocket and says, 100% mine. So, this is corruption. And corruption is like a ball of snow. Once it is set a rolling, it must increase. Corruption is the chain of evils that plights every man, or rather, every common man of the nation. It's the single bane that diminishes the possibility of development in a country. In all workplaces, at all levels, corruption is widespread. Several cases of scams, scandals, and bribery have come up in the fields of medicine, telecom, finance, pharmaceuticals, education, and almost every sector of life. Corruption mainly affects the country's economy, constraining the country's resources to a small percent of the population and leaving the majority barehanded. In this scenario, the resources that would have been used for the developmental projects, isn't it enhancing the luxury of the morally bankrupt minority? Yes, it is. Corruption ruins democracy, making the less privileged ones even more underprivileged. The funds that reach the destitute people is a negligible percent of the sum collected that drains down the river of corruption. Corruption increases the rising problems of illiteracy and unemployment in the country, and illiteracy, unemployment, and ignorance further contribute to corruption. The cumulative effect of individual corrupt acts is dysfunctionality. Whether provided by public sector or private sector, the quantity of goods and services decreases, and the process of obtaining them becomes time-consuming, expensive, and unfair. The economic development is stunted because direct foreign investment is discouraged, and small businesses often find it impossible to overcome startup costs because of corruption. Even a small increase in corruption leads to a few $100 loss in GDP per capita for a country like India as an Indian currency. Now, in a corrupt education system, it has impacts both socially and economically. It follows that where quality educators are absent, individuals are deprived of the fundamental right of education. Democracy is totally ruined. It perverts the rules of the law, distorts the electoral process, and makes it a quagmire whose only reason for existing is the solicitation of bribes. For a country to stand or develop, a united man force should act at its core. And if corruption creeps in there, our dreams are sure to shatter. I would end my speech by quoting the famous words of the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan. If corruption is a disease, transparency is an essential part of its treatment.